Welcome to the GAE-Retired Lunch Bunch for June. And for our GAE meetings, we need to go through and read the official script for the virtual meetings. So here we go. Good morning. While we welcome all public school employees, this event is only for GAE members and GAE staff. Therefore, if you are not a GAE member or part of the GAE staff, please sign in by putting your name, personal email address, cell phone number, and school system, if applicable, in the chat to me. We appreciate your interest in GAE. We hope you will join our organization today by visiting GAE.org. And everyone, please note that you must receive prior permission from the GAE Executive Committee or the GAE Executive Director before recording audio or video of this meeting. Social media posts concerning this meeting shall not contain information about the specific content of the meeting, although the sharing of general information about GAE and GAE events is encouraged. Please be courteous to other attendees and request their permission before posting photographs containing their images. And if you have questions about social media posting of GAE events, please contact the GAE Executive Committee or the GAE Executive Director. End of speech. And so glad everybody is here today. For those of you who are new, my name is Karen Solheim. I'm a member of the GAE-Retired Executive Committee. I'm the secretary at this point in time. And our speaker here is Jim Kelly. And Jim's going to talk to us today about driving or whatever else comes to mind. And Jim, thank you so much for being here. And the majority of the meeting time is now open to you.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much. I'm sure I can fill hours and hours. So everybody sit back, relax, and I will try to share my screen and let's see how this works. Okay. All right. Hopefully everybody can see that.
I am not seeing anything. Is anybody else? Could you help out and let us know if you're seeing something?
I'm only seeing you.
And I'm changing it to speaker view. That does not help me.
Righty, let me get you this.
It must be
good morning.
Good morning. Must be the technological demons in the world today, I think. So
Has that worked?
No,
Not yet.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
So when you hit share, are you able to go to your various applications?
Yep, and I've got a window selected. Let me try another window.
Okay. See if we can see something else.
How's that one? Does that look any better?
Nope.
No.
We still see you though. It looks good. It's just you.
It's maybe what you all get. Let me see if
you
I can
wanna
change that one.
email me the presentation and I'll see if I can open it and go from there?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, let's try that and I'll keep hacking away at the thing.
Okay. Technology is going to be our friend.
Let me close you there.
And those of you that have joined us on the call, aren't you glad that you don't have to do this for a class and be evaluated on your technological prowess? There's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful that retirement is part of my life. And I realize we may have still, since this is June, we may have some active members on this call. Is anybody still working educationally? Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that in the chat. I'm glad you're here today. And Doris, yep, I hear you. Thankful indeed. It is a good day in retirement. And I know some of us, myself included, I'm now getting my Social Security every month. I have my Social Security back pay appliances in my kitchen. It's the first time I've had matching appliances, but I use part of my back pay to get those in place. So I look at them with fondness.
It is a wonderful thing.
It is. It is a wonderful thing. Well, while we're transitioning, have you sent it, Jim? Or
But it may be too big to get to you, so we'll see. It's still cranking away. Let me see if I'll try something else
okay.
with the full view screen, maybe.
Well, as Jim is trying, I will share that next month for July, again, we're not going to meet on first Wednesday. We're going to meet on second Wednesday since it's so close to the 4th of July and NEA and that kind of thing. And so on July 9th, Dr. Buster Evans, the executive director of TRS, it will be our featured speaker, I believe. So if it's not Buster, it is someone else who will go through and talk to us about TRS. But I'm pretty sure it's Buster who's confirmed for that day. And if you haven't heard Buster speak about TRS, it will again put a smile on your face, both by the way and the presentation he delivers and the content of the presentation. So put that on your calendars.
Anything yet? Have you seen anything or nothing yet?
Nothing yet, Jim.
Yeah, let's see this one.
Up, you have started screen sharing.
Excellent.
Yahoo.
I'm so glad it's being recorded. All righty. Let's see if it will work.
You should be able to change slides at the bottom left-hand corner. There should be some little, yeah,
There we are. All righty. All right. Well, that was just to wet your whistle onto making anticipation and so on there. My apologies, folks. So let me get started right away and we'll get right into this. And I will let you know about the 55 plus driver safety program, who we are. We are a resource for all of drivers in the state of Georgia. We want to have them maintain their mobility, their mental and physical acuity, and their lifestyle as they age. And hang on a second here. Okay. Joining me today, somewhere in the crowd, is my program consultant, Frey. She will be helping me out. Maybe Matt take a look at the chat. I could have used her help a few minutes ago. And she's a good expert at this kind of stuff. So we've got here the 55 plus driver safety program. We are funded by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and we offer all of the resources for aging drivers in the state. We have presentations such as this one. We also have a couple of programs, which I'll touch on a little bit later, things like CarFit, Yellow Dot, and all kind of resources with the area agent area agencies on aging, and our other contacts within the government and some private organizations. We are committed to the safe system approach and the 4 E's of safety, which is education, engineering, enforcement, and EMS. Our roads are very complicated. There's a lot of things going on, and we have to be aware of what's going on around us on the roads, but we also have to be aware of what's going on inside us, changes that we face as we age. Today, my purpose is to just have you think about safe driving, your driving habits, and to provide quick reminders and refreshers. And maybe we'll throw in some stuff that maybe, you didn't know, or just that you remember from a long time ago. Quick quiz. How many of you folks think it is possible to drive in a safe manner? You can throw something into the chat. And Frey, if you see something in the chat and you want to verbalize it, let me know.
Yes, we have a few people that saying yes in the chat.
Okay. So it's possible to drive in a safe manner. Well, that's great. Now for the tricky quiz. Define safe. Go ahead and pop it in the chat. And Frey, you let me know because I cannot see the chat.
No worries, no responses yet.
Okay. You
We
know it
have
was a trick question. I'm
someone said
finally
not
giving
having an accident is considered
not,
safe.
not having an accident. That's good. Yep. See, I just did this because I know you're all educators. So you all used to give me quizzes and pop tests. So I thought I'd throw one or two in for you guys
We
just to
have
make it feel good.
just a few more responses. Somebody said driving within laws. Another
Good.
one said, I am not hurting other people or myself, and
That's a good
following
one.
the rules of the road.
Yeah, all of that is good. We have that idea of what safe means. Well, one of the things that I do besides this is I'm a freelance writer. So words are kind of important to me. So my definition of safe is that it's protected from or not exposed to danger or risk, not likely to be harmed, or what I use, the absence of risk. Now let me ask my question again. So can you drive with the absence of risk? No, there's risk really in everything we do. Is there anything in our life that doesn't have risk to it? You can think of what some of the risky activities that you might engage in. Skydiving. My wife and son just went skydiving over the last weekend. I didn't, but they did. Some of the things like you can see here in the illustration, it's bicycle riding in traffic. It's pretty risky. And this person's riding his bicycle in the wrong spot for the road, so it's even more risky. But basically, some risky activities. Rock climbing, parachuting, as I mentioned, motorcycling, all of these things are risky. What do you think is some of the things that are risky activity or where children ages 1 to 4 are basically killed? What do you think that might be? You can pop something in the chat. There's no wrong answers, by the way, folks.
DUI,
DUI,
hot cars,
hot cars, yeah, yeah,
swimming,
swimming. All of those things, they're gonna hurt our kids. Now, whoever said swimming is real close. Number one is drowning for children ages 1 to 4. And look at car crashes. Wow. So how about like ages 65 and up? Well, I think I just got ahead of myself there on the slide, but it's falls. That's the number one killer of folks over the age of 65. And also car crashes. So those are things that we have to be aware of. And if we are aware of them, we can deal with them. Let's take a look at some of the 5 leading causes of death and unintentional injuries from everybody. Doesn't matter the sex, the race, the age, the ethnicity. It's all of it. I know these are kind of depressing stuff, but if we're aware of these things, we can work on avoiding them or dealing with them. If you look at the chart along the top, those are the age groups, and down along the left side are the issues. Motor vehicle crash for those under the age of 1. Motor vehicle crash for second leading cause of death for children 1 to 4. It's number 1 for 5, 10, and 24. Probably because in those areas in the 5 to 14-year age, they're not buckled up properly. They're not in a good booster seat. They're out of their child seat. Hey, mom, I'm too big for a baby seat. No, you're not. You're going to get hurt if there's a crash or an accident. 15 to 24, motor vehicle crashes, leading cause of death. Those are the new drivers. They don't know what they're doing just yet, and they make a lot of mistakes. Moving on. Look at that. All the way across the board from the age 25 to 65 and up, motor vehicle crash is the second leading cause. If you look between 25 and 64, it's poisoning. The opioid, medications, overdoses, things of that nature. It used to be 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, motor vehicle crash was number 1 in all those categories. The poisoning and the opioid stuff has taken lead. Look at 65 and up. For our older folks that are above 65, falls are the most dangerous area to be. If that's the case, check out what's in the house that can cause falls, loose rugs, things in the way, and so on. And if you look for the overall, motor vehicle crashes are number 3. Poisoning is number 1, falls are number 2, and motor vehicle crashes are number 3 for all ages. So when we talk about the absence of risk, the most dangerous thing for most of us, unless we're a police officer in the military or in the fire services, for the most part, the most risky thing we do is driving, and we don't think about it. People do not think about the risks on the road, and that's why we lose almost 40 to 50,000 people a year in this country to motor vehicle crashes. So let's get into our tips. Tip number 1 is the safety messages. These are messages you heard all the time. They're the PSAs, they've got billboards. They just beat you into the ground with these things until they become background. They become part of the furniture. They are just really, yeah, I've seen it, no problem. What I'd like you to do is take a look at some of these messages. Think about them. Think about what their message is. Now, it's not going to change habits right away, but it could influence that, bring that awareness up to things like buckling up, click it and ticket, don't drink and drive, share the road with motorcyclists and pedestrians, obey the traffic signals at a railroad crossing, and don't speed. These are things we see all the time, but really look at them again and see and listen to that message in the back of your head so that they don't become just background noise. Knowledge is power. When you think of all that information that's out there, that's powerful for you. Ways that you can get more power: take another class, take a refresher course from AARP, the AAA, or the National Safety Council. AARP has one you can do in person. There's some that you can do online. Take a refresher course. For many folks our age, the last time we've had some training was back when we were 15 or 16 taking a driver's ed course in school. And if we haven't done anything since then, it might be time to refresh. Even if you just go online, look at some videos and get some of that training. I don't know why I'm telling a whole bunch of educators how to educate stuff, but this is my usual pitch to people is go back and look and review. Recognize what hazards are. That's important. If you can't recognize a hazard, you're not going to be able to deal with it. So when you're driving, what are those things out there? What's the hazard that we come across? We'll talk a little bit more about that. Know what the laws are. Some of you mentioned in How to Drive Safe is knowing what the laws are, driving within the laws, speeding laws, going through a roundabout, making left turns in all of those areas. These are things that you need to be able to recognize as hazards. Because let's face it, if we don't think it's a hazard, we're not going to deal with it. Know the laws for all of those areas. Maintain your vehicle. What's the tire pressure? I want everybody to look at your hand, okay? The palm of your hand. Your car tires, the only contact with the asphalt is about the size of the palm of your hand. So you've got 4 tires on the ground that have no more contact with the asphalt than what's the size of the palm of your hand. How important do you think tire pressure is? How important do you think tread wear on your tires is important? And if your car fails at the wrong moment, that's not good. It causes crashes. So maintain your vehicle. If you do it yourself, great, great. Do it on a regular basis. If not, take it in for service. And make sure that your vehicle is up to standards. And last part, maintain you. How are you feeling? What kind of chronic issues that you might have? If you're under a doctor's care, how does that affect your driving? Take care of yourself. Go for vision testing, because vision is very important in driving, because that's where all your information is coming visually. When just there was a random thought coming up there, and I'm going to ignore it. Know yourself. Aging will affect our driving skills and our abilities. Any chronic medical conditions, discuss that with your doctor. And hey, doc, how is this going to affect my driving? Check your medications. Check it with your doctor, but also with your pharmacist. How are these going to affect you? You know, we're taking medications for a reason. They have to affect us. That's why we're taking them. But also, how is that going to affect our driving? Will they make us sluggish? Will they make us drowsy, hyper, or whatever the opposite of hyper is? But think about it. In the days in the past, not that long ago, on your medicine warnings, it said, do not operate heavy equipment while taking this medication. Well, heavy equipment is cars. That's a piece of heavy equipment. So people would think, oh, I'm not driving my bulldozer today, so I can take the medicine. If you look on your medications now, it says, don't drive with taking this medication, or be aware of it. Check with your pharmacist, check with your doctor. Vision is probably one of the things that you might notice sooner than later. Get your vision checked, because it's very important. Hearing also is important to driving. You need to hear the sounds of the road. You need to hear the sound of your muffler falling off your car, or some other issues within the engine, so that you can take care of those things. And of course, know your limitations. When I first started driving, like anybody, I like to drive fast. I drive motorcycles. I've taken some track time. I like doing that. It's fun. I'm not as fast as I used to be. I have slowed up because I know what my limitations are. I know that I do not drive at night. If I can avoid it, I will, because I just don't see as well at night. I don't drive as fast. If you're someone who gets nervous driving on the highway at 65, 70 miles an hour amongst 18-wheelers, know that's your limitation. Don't do it. Find an alternative, and find that alternative now. So watch for and listen to yourself as to what your limitations are. And last on this part, anticipate rather than react. When you're driving, look at that person who's in front of you and go, what am I going to do if they jam on the brakes? Or you come to an intersection. What am I going to do if somebody is going to make a left turn in front of me? Anticipate. Think about what you would do. That means cut the conversation with the folks in your car. Put down the French fries, put down the cup of coffee, maybe turn the radio down a little bit, and think about the driving. Because what's the most dangerous thing most of us do? Is driving. So be aware of that. Let's take a look at some of the things that we're affected by. Vision. When our vision changes, it will affect our near and far vision, our depth perception, our visual attention, peripheral vision, and light and dark sensitivity, and the ability to focus. How does that affect our driving? Well, a lot. Can we see other vehicles? Can we see pedestrians off on the side? We'll be able to see them in our peripheral vision. Can we see lane markings? Lane markings get faded over time. Would our vision be able to pick out the shadows of the lane markings so that we know we can place our car within the proper lane? And of course, being able to see the controls and reading them as we're driving. Excuse me. And then cognition. That's our memory, our attention span, our ability to recognize different things. how fast we can make decisions, and our judgment. Again, for driving, kind of important. We have to know where we are, how we're going to get there, and where we are at the moment while we're trying to get there. We need to process a lot of information. As I said, driving is a complex activity. We also need to make appropriate decisions quickly. When somebody pulls out, we need to be able to see them, be able to move our foot from the accelerator to the brake, press the brake, make the car start to slow down or steer in a different direction. We need to process all of those decision making. And we got to recognize and understand how our vehicle operates. You know, it wouldn't be bad to go out and test it, you know, get it up to maybe 30 miles an hour in a safe area, nobody's around, and put the brakes on really hard. See how it feels when you get pushed up against the safety belt, and understand how your car operates. How does it turn? And last, physical mobility. That is our strength, our flexibility, our reaction time, and our range of motion. The car is a very physical area. We have to move our foot from the accelerator to the brake. If you have manual transmission, you have to be able to use your left leg to press on the clutch. You need to be able to move your hands and your arms to turn the steering wheel. You need to be able to turn your head all the way to your shoulder to look out and see your blind spots. So that's an important thing. So think about these things about yourself and see how that would affect your personal driving. These are some of the limitations and gives us problems. Muscle weakness, you know, can't turn your head, difficulty with walking or balance, multiple medications, dizziness, vision problems, history of falls. If a person has a history of falls, there's they have said that that will be an indicator of having more motor vehicle crashes. So if there's a history of falls with somebody you know, there's a potential there for having car crashes. And foot problems. I've touched on this, where you have to move your foot from the accelerator to the brake. Continuing with knowledge, well, how do you fit in your car? You know, there's new technology. There's new controls, there's mirrors, there's comfort, especially if you buy a new car now. I buy a car and I hold on to it for years. But if I were to buy a new car, or in my case, I rent a car somewhere, and all of a sudden there's all these safety gadgets. It's an amazing array of things. And if you have these in your car, learn about them. And the best place to learn about them is in the owner's manual. Take that out of the glove box, dust it off, open it up, and go through all the things that you have seen in the car. Hey, you know, it wouldn't hurt you to do that now with your current car, just to review and see what some of the equipment you have in your car. So there's new technology. Know where the controls are, set them up so that they're easy to use, easy to reach, and make sure you're comfortable in the vehicle. One of the ways to do that, and we offer this from time to time, CarFit event. CarFit trained technicians go through a checklist and they see how you fit. Are you further enough away from the airbags? Is it easy to reach for your safety belt? How are your mirrors adjusted so that you eliminate as much of the blind spot as possible? Tip number 3, space, the everyday frontier. It's simple and easy to do. It's a space bubble. Keep a 360-degree awareness around your vehicle. What's in front of you? What's behind you? What's on the sides of you? And you know what? What's underneath? You know, potholes, railroad crossings, slippery surfaces. Left side, right side, front and back, you know what's going to be there. Also, there's a 3-second following distance, which I'll touch on the next slide. We also got to be aware of tailgaters and aggressive drivers because they will interfere with our space. You got to be alert, but not distracted. You know, keep looking around, but don't focus on any one thing. Just keep aware, looking around. And then know where you are and where you're going. Know where you are in that bubble. Who's next to you? Is there a place that I can make an escape route? If something happens right now, where am I going to steer my car? Also, know where you are. Use mapping services, either Google or paper. Know where you're going so that you can adjust your driving for the conditions that are there. And where are you in the lane position? Are you properly positioned? Are you set up for a turn? These are things to think about. And this is kind of what it looks like because I had to throw in another graphic to make it official. You got that little bubble there around your vehicle, and you can see its front, back, sides, and underneath. Think of your vehicle that way as you drive. It's not just what's in front of you, it's what's all around you. And protect your bubble. Don't get yourself caught between those two 18-wheelers on the highway at 70 miles an hour. Move to another lane, slow, speed up, whatever you need to do to make space around you. Here's what I tell folks to make that space. The first responder there in the ambulance is passing the giant sequoia tree. And once they pass the sequoia tree, you on your motorcycle count off 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. And at that point, you should be at the giant sequoia tree. Now, that gives a good space. You keep that space as you go, and you have to practice it, religiously as you're driving. Now, you'll notice something, a little discrepancy there, all of you that have been teaching English and grammar. I've got a picture there that says 2 seconds. Title of my slide says 3 seconds. The 2-second following distance is the minimum following distance. In the picture that you see here, the motorcyclist, if that first responder in the ambulance jammed on their brakes and stopped, the motorcyclist would need that 2-second distance to roll off the throttle, squeeze both brakes, and make the vehicle come to a stop, and it will bump into the back of that ambulance. It'll touch the front wheel to their bumper because that's the 2 seconds. If you left a 3-second following distance, you won't hit the bumper of the ambulance. You'll have that space. Now, that's nice. If you're on the highway, 70 miles an hour, it's not 2 to 3 seconds. It should be 4, 5, or more seconds. It depends upon how fast you're going. The way you get that feel is, will my vehicle stop in the distance if the car in front of me hits the brakes? That needs to be practiced, but this will give you some thoughts as to what you can do. Some more things. Ooh, tailgaters and aggressive drivers. Wonderful, wonderful people. What we've got here is keep calm, drive on. Don't let the anger and the fear upset your driving. You need to stay in control of your driving. Stay within the speed limit. Don't speed up because now you're trying to drive your car at the driver behind you's pushing you, and they will push you to your limits. Don't do that. Stay with your speed limit. Then get out of the way. I know for some folks it's going to be hard. There's anger involved, there's fear. You got to overcome that and get out of the way. Let them go. To get out of the way, change lanes, turn into a parking lot, go a different way. Just get out of the way and be extra cautious when you brake. Don't slam on the brake, just put it on slowly because they're following too close and they could rear end you. You don't want that. Get out of the way. Don't speed it up and avoid confrontation. You don't know who's in that other vehicle. You don't know if they're armed or if they got a baseball bat or something like that. And you don't need to find that out. Get out of the way, let them go. Usually you'll see them in a problem further up ahead. They'll have either crashed, got pulled over, or, they've gone on with their lives. Let them. And some of the things that happen with us drivers, the top 3 contributing factors for all traffic crashes are failure to yield the right of way, following too close, and changing lanes improperly. Now, the top 3 contributing factors for fatal crashes are 1, failure to yield the right of way. 2, failure to obey or observe actual traffic signs, traffic control devices, traffic officers, and improper lane usage. Look at the 2. All traffic crashes versus fatal crashes. If somebody fails to yield, it'll cause a crash, but also in that crash, it might cause a fatality. Failure to obey or observe actual traffic signs. Cars going the wrong way down a one-way street or going on the wrong side of the highway. That is not obeying the signs, not following the traffic control devices, and so on. And then improper lane usage is the same thing as not driving in your lane. Tip number 4, we are unique just like everyone else. There are common challenges on the road for everyone. As we age, though, some of these turn up a little bit more, like left turns, a little bit more challenging. We'll talk about that in a second. Lane changes, knowing what the blind spots are, and with our aging changes, our physical changes, that's going to affect how we look at blind spots. Night driving, I've touched on that. Merging, we'll talk a little bit about roundabouts in a minute, and then impaired driving. And we just touched on aggressive driving. So, you can see in the picture, it's like we're all out there. You don't know who or what situation the other folks are having that day when they're out there. So you got to be aware of what's going on, not to be distracted. But let's take a little bit about the turns. Since turns seem to be a higher rate of crashes and fatalities, when a person is turning right, get into the position to turn ahead of time. Set yourself up for the turn. Keep the vehicle close to the curb or the road shoulder, not on it, but close to it. You want to check to make sure that the right blind spot, everything on the right side of the car, is clear of vehicles and pedestrians. Pedestrians have a habit of sneaking up on you. They're like squirrels. They don't follow any rules. They'll just jump out in front of you. You got to be aware of them. So keep an eye out for them as you're going to be making a right-hand turn or any turn. Turn your signal on about 100 feet before you make the turn. Let everybody know what you're going to do so it's not a surprise to them. You don't like to be surprised, so don't surprise them. Use your signals, communicate out there. Obviously, if there's any pedestrians in that traffic path that you're about to take, yield to them, let them go. If you do have to stop, look in your rearview mirror and make sure that somebody is not going to ram into the back of you. And then when you make that turn using your steering wheel, some people kind of turn it and hold it, keep turning until you're actually into the lane closest to you. Don't cross over into the other lanes. Turn into the lane that's close to you. If you need to get into the other lane, go a little bit ahead, signal that you're changing lanes, and then change into that lane. Now, turning left. Watch for approaching traffic. You're about to make a turn across oncoming traffic. Motorcycles and cars turning left is one of the biggest killer of motorcyclists. Since I am a motorcyclist, I like to let you know when you make that turn, look for that motorcycle. Look for that tiny little headlight that might be coming down on that side. And of course, don't ignore the other vehicles like trucks, pedestrians, and bicyclists. Look and see what's coming before you make that left turn. Again, about 100 feet before you make that turn, signal. Let everybody know what you're going to do. And believe me, if I'm on the other side of my motorcycle and I see your left turn signal, I am getting prepared and getting ready in case that person turns in front of me. And it's a great relief when I pass that person and they make the turn behind me. It's like it worked. Yield to pedestrians, yield to anybody in that intersection, and then again, turn into the appropriate lane, the lane closest to you, without crossing into the other lanes. Now, when you're making a left-hand turn, you're probably going to be stopped with traffic that might be behind you, or they'll come in behind you to make a left turn. Keep your tires pointed straight, because if you were hit from the rear, with your tires pointed straight, it'll push you forward. If your tires are turned to the left, you're anticipating making the turn, and you're hit from the rear, it'll push your car out into oncoming traffic. Definitely going to be a crash there. Okay, so keep your tires pointed straight. Continuing with good old tip 4, let's talk about blind spots. Think about it. How many blind spots do you have in the car? You're going like, oh, I got the left side, I got the right side. You got a lot. You got the entire left side of the car, entire right side of the car, but you also got the things in the car. If you look here in this picture, and it's not the best picture for blind spots, but it's the only one I could get permission for, you see the rear view mirror. And you can see that it's just kind of getting that do not enter sign. And you can see our driver, he's looking at us. Hopefully he doesn't miss that do not enter sign because he seems to be heading towards the oncoming traffic. Look at that blind spot. Look at his windshield. He's got stickers above his on his left side. He's got, and I have no idea what that other thing is on the right, but maybe it's a sensor or a tracking that they did for testing. And he's got this huge console above his rear view. Now that can take out seeing maybe a traffic light or something else. Excuse me. So be aware of that. Look in your car and see what might be blocking your vision. Here you can see she's making a really good head check to the left to see and in her blind spot if anything's coming. And then she can change a lane or whatever. She's got good hand position on the steering wheel up at around 10 and 2. Because at 10, you probably heard that you should hold the steering wheel at 10 and 2 and so on. You really want to hold the steering wheel at 9 and 3. Because if the airbag in the steering column deploys, your hands will be outside the bag and won't push your hands into your body. Excuse me. And here's night driving. If this is what it looks like when you go night driving, you probably should not be night driving. However, if you are driving at night and you see some sparkles around the traffic, around the street lights, there's a flashing glare around it, or you're doing really like squinting really hard, that's a problem. You're not going to be able to see a lot of things. Remember, pedestrians are not out there wearing reflective vests or carrying flashlights or even following the rules of the road. So you're responsible for those folks. Get your vision checked. There are some types of glasses that may help you see a little bit better at dusk and so on. But this is a question that only you can answer. If this is what you see when you're driving, really, that may not be a good thing. So get it checked out. Pause here. Roundabouts. You either hate them or you hate them. There's not much left in between. My wife is from Massachusetts. I hated them up there. We used to call them the death spiral because it was just everybody gets into a circle, goes wherever they want, no problems. And they had very beautiful little gardens in the middle of these things, but you couldn't see it because of all the traffic. Now they've got roundabouts, a little bit more special, a little bit better design, and hopefully a little bit better to handle. The big thing to remember about roundabouts, whether you hate them or love them or no big deal one way or the other, is this. If the roundabout is there, it probably means there was a lot of fatal crashes at that intersection. So that's what they decided to put a roundabout in, because the weird thing about roundabouts is when they put them in, fatal crashes almost disappear. However, crashes go up significantly. But the crashes are side swipes, not T-bones, not head-ons, not fatal. So if you're willing to give up maybe some scratch paint as opposed to a fatal crash, roundabouts are what works in there. Now, when you do roundabouts, obviously you got to be very alert. You want to slow before you get to it to anticipate who's going to be in there, where you're going to be, and so on. And you can read the slide, how you you must yield to the traffic already in the roundabout. The one thing I have issue with here now is the last one for roundabout, signal before exiting the roundabout. Some of the roundabouts in Georgia are small. I hold myself out as a road safety professional, and I have a hard time signaling before I get to the exit to get out of a roundabout. So it's very, very difficult to think about that. And really, if you're nervous about roundabouts, just get in there properly and get out. And you keep moving when you're in there. Multi-lane roundabouts, they have several different lanes around it, and you have to choose which one is better. To go straight or right, you get into the right-hand lane. If you want to go straight, left, or make a U-turn, you use the left turn. And you've always got to yield to pedestrians in the crosswalks. And interestingly, here in Georgia, bicyclists can take the lane in the roundabout because they can ride on the road, and you have to give them a little bit more room. Impaired driving. I don't think I have to spend much time on this. Impaired driving is not a good thing. Fatalities are big if somebody is under the influence. And you can see here that a can of beer is about the same size as a glass of wine or a shot of hard liquor. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's going to affect somebody's ability to drive. For us, it's manage our medications because our medications, as I mentioned, do affect us. That's why we take them. And how does it affect your driving? Find that out from your medical professionals. Be aware of the physical and mental changes that can impair our driving. If our vision is impaired, if we're getting cataracts and we're starting to close off some of our peripheral vision, those are things that we have to have checked out with a medical professional to see how we can adapt to that change. And of course, drive alert and stay focused. If we're listening to the radio, having a great conversation with our passenger, or we're eating, well, that's not focusing on the drive. Remember, it's the most riskiest thing that we all do on a daily basis. Oh, let me go back to that one a second there. Remember the roundabout? Think about somebody, not us, but somebody we're driving, sharing the road with, who's under the influence of a drug, who's drunk, and trying to navigate that roundabout with us. It could be a simple thing as them being drowsy. It could cause a lot of problems. We're looking for that. We're keeping our eyes open. We're seeing if somebody is having difficulty managing the roundabout, and we get away from them. A little bit about side impact collisions. The T-bone occurs at the intersections, usually result of confusion. Somebody doesn't follow the rules or blows through a stop sign. We have to be extra vigilant when we're at a corner or an intersection. Anticipate what are we going to do if that guy goes through the stop sign? Look both ways and stop. Make a stop. Make a full stop. Because you know what? If there's a kid on a bicycle? If you don't make that full stop, you'll be out there and the kid will come out and it's not pretty. So make that full stop. Look both ways before you go through an intersection. Look left, look right, look left again, and then make the turn or go through the intersection. Don't speed up to get through that yellow light. Do you notice they have the little countdown things on the lights now? You can see how it counts down. A lot of people go, oh, I got 3 seconds to get through that intersection. Let me floor it. No, the idea is that you got 3 seconds to stop at the yellow light before you get to the intersection. Again, check the rear and make sure that that person behind you knows that you're going to stop. Side swipe, we kind of talked about that. Check your blind spot before changing lanes so that you're not hitting somebody. And be alert for other drivers who are trying to change lanes unexpectedly. Front impact. That's where the front of your vehicle hits another vehicle or something on the side of the road, like a tree or a telephone pole. Usually that means that the person who's driving went off the road, lost control of the vehicle, usually in the rain. Down here in Atlanta, when it rains, I hear the fire department going out all the time, and it's usually for car crashes. People don't adjust their driving for the conditions. If it's raining, the pavement is going to be slippery. If it's raining in the fall with wet leaves, it's going to be very slippery. And I know snow is not a big thing down here, and that's even really bad when it does snow. Folks don't know how to drive in the snow. They have a hard time driving in the rain. So if you're out there driving, realize that's going to be a problem with other drivers in the rain and the snow. How you handle it, give yourself more time to react if your car suddenly loses control. First thing to do is, if the conditions are bad, slow down. Don't do the speed limit. If it's raining, be about 10 miles and under the speed limit. Now, yes, I know you're going to be 10 miles under the speed limit, so the guy behind you, the aggressive driver, is just going to get mad. What do? Get out of the way. Just let them go. The goal here is to get you home safe. It's up to them to deal with their own transgressions. Pay attention, reduce the distractions. Pay more attention. What's happening around you, that 360 bubble? What's happening around? Are there more cars going fast? Is somebody doing really something bad? Oh, and rear end collisions. Usually occurs in heavy commuter traffic, highways, thoroughfares. It's usually when you're bumper to bumper. Well, well, let's get that one. The most common causes are speeding or aggressive driving, failing to leave sufficient space between vehicles. Now, we talked about at speed, having that 2 second and 3 second or more seconds following distance at the faster speeds. Well, here in bumper to bumper traffic, when you're stopped, adjust your speed for the conditions, obviously, but give yourself space to react. When you're stopped in bumper to bumper traffic, you should stop so that you see the tires of the car in front of you touching the asphalt. So if you've got that vision of those tires, that gives your car enough space to get out into another lane. You can move. If you're bumper to bumper, you're not going to be able to move. Weirdly enough, yesterday I was out on the road. A car stalled in a lane. A person pulled up behind them, bumper to bumper. They didn't realize that the car ran out of gas or did something, but it stalled. They weren't moving anywhere. This car's behind it. Well, they sat and waited, figured the person was, going to get going eventually. And then the person behind that person stopped, and the person behind that. There were 10 people in line. And then they figured out the person who was directly behind the stalled vehicle, they found out, they were realizing, like, oh, we're not going anywhere. They couldn't turn because they were too close to the car. The car behind them was too close to them, so nobody could move. It was about 10 minutes, and then I gave up looking. They might still be there for all I know. But you need to be able to give yourself the space to react. So leave that space where you can see the tires of the car in front of you touching the asphalt. Again, we talked about tailgaters, slow, move to the right. If it's safe, let them go. Find some place to move over. Tip number 5. Uh-oh, these are the things that can sneak up on us. Okay, our changes in our vision, changes in our hearing, our memory, our range of motion, and the warning signs. There's a lot here. These are things that, kind of indicate, oh, we got to really pay attention, or maybe it's time to retire from our driving and find an alternative. Do we feel uncomfortable and nervous, more fearful, more nervous, or more uncomfortable than we have in the past? Do we have a slower response time to the unexpected? Does our medical problem preclude us driving or safely handling the car? Got close calls? Take a look at the car. And also, if you have somebody in your family who needs to have their driving looked at, or you might be having second thoughts about having them drive, look at the vehicle. Are there a lot of scrapes that are unexplainable, or are there scrapes on the fences, the mailboxes, the garage doors, curbs? Look for those things. They're kind of signs that we're hitting things more. Difficulty seeing the sides of the road when seeing straight ahead. Peripheral vision goes. Easily distracted. And obviously, the last one received a lot of traffic tickets or warnings from law enforcement within a short period of time. Those are things that are warning signs as to the longevity of our ability to drive. AAA gives out a little self-rating form. In fact, we can send that to you, and you can distribute to everybody here. It's for your own edification. Nobody. It's a self-test. Nobody's going to see it. You don't hand it to your person sitting next to you to correct. You do it by yourself, and you can be honest or not. But you read the things, check off the box, and then add it up and see where you are currently for your driving. It's not the best thing, but it is somewhat accurate to do that. And obviously, tip six is we will at some point, because of the folks we love, we're going to have to give up the keys. We're going to have to retire from driving. We want to minimize the risk to that also. Well, how do you minimize the risk? Well, find out now by lining up alternative transportation. Does the bus stop out in front of where you live? Are there shuttles available? Can you do ride sharing? In fact, Uber and Lyft are now setting up programs for aging drivers to use their services. So they have some special services for that. And if that's something that you use, check it out. See if there's any taxi services or bartering with friends who drive or family, to make sure that you can get to the places you need to. One of the things you can do for a health benefit is walking. Uh, if you got sidewalks and if you can walk to where you need to go, that's great. Check it out now. If you're dealing with somebody who you think should retire from driving, have that talk now. Get this information for them, walk them through it, have them do the setup, the sign-ups, the standing at the bus stop, whatever. But have that talk now and intervene before it becomes a problem. If you need help with that, there's professional intervention. You can use your doctors, there's rehab centers. We can give you information on that also to help minimize the risk. Again, giving up the keys, make a plan for the future transportation options. Make a list of all the places you go now and how you get there. How would you get to those places if you couldn't use your method? Find out the options before you need them. Learn how to use them to help you give freedom to where you want to go. That's the 6 tips. Here's the half tip. What strategy did you use to get to where you're going when you drive? Now, I know we're probably all sitting at home today, so the slide doesn't quite work, but what strategy do you use when you drive? And I know you have a strategy because you're still driving and we're here at this presentation. So you have a strategy. But is it one that you can answer? What exactly do I do? Now, maybe some of you have heard the Smith system or the AAA Safe Driver or the Driver Improvement Program strategy. These are all kinds of different strategies. So what do you have? Well, maybe this will help. It's an easy one. It's SEA, just like the beautiful sea. The first letter stands for scan. You see your situation here, you're driving, there's a lot of things going on. You scan and look for everything. What's out there? You got the buildings with the lights, you got the trolley tracks there, there's pedestrians, there's everything going on here. Who's next to you? Who's behind you? Are there parked cars around you? Is there a bike lane? Who's at the crosswalk? See everything. See all of that. That's the scan ability. Now, the E for evaluate. Balance what you want to do with what you can do. What's going to hurt you? You evaluate which one of these things can hurt me first, and that's my priority. I'm going to deal with it. Here in the picture, you can see that the pickup truck did the scan, saw the 2 people over there standing in the middle of the lane with signs. Not too good there. The pickup truck said, "Oh, there's a problem. I saw that." What did the pickup truck do? They evaluated the situation and they acted. They did it. They decided to move over. So whatever you decide under that evaluation part, do it. To review that strategy, scan, search and see everywhere, evaluate what's going to hurt you and how are you going to deal with it. And then what you decided to do is do it. Do whatever it was that you evaluate. Change lanes, make a stop, slow down, speed up. One example I use, if you're driving down the road and you're scanning and you see a sign that says bridge out ahead, well, you evaluate what's going to hurt you. Well, if I keep going straight, that's going to hurt me. Changing lanes not going to do anything for me. I'll just go off the other side of the bridge. So what do? You stop, turn around, go the other way. A lot of options open to you. And that, my friends, is it. If you should have any questions, we are available for you at any and all times. I will stop sharing and turn it back to you.
Thank you, Jim. I don't know, I'm speaking for myself, but you have given me a lot of things to think about at this point in time. And I get to drive again in about an hour and a half. So I will be evaluating everything that I need to evaluate as I go through and go out into the wild blue yonder, so to speak. So thank you so much for being here. I just want to share a couple things with our audience members, and hopefully you can see my screen. This was in your GAE-Retired in the loop, and I'm scrolling very quickly. If you're not aware that we have an election, we meaning the state of Georgia has an election going on for Public Service Commission, I hope you'll do your due diligence and go and vote and use your right as a registered voter. Early voting is happening now. Then the other couple things is we are having a program this Saturday, the Professional Development Committee, about emotional agility for educators. So please go through if you get a chance and tune into that. We still need to take care of ourselves even in retirement. And the Professional Development Committee is wanting your surveys about what kind of professional development GAE might do, and that would be including for all our members, including retirees. So please go through and complete this survey. It's just tiny URL, GAEPD 2025, two $50 gift cards for entering the drawing for that. We will be at our next TRS board meeting in July, and congratulations, Debbie Simons, our GAE past president and GAE retired member, was reelected to serve another 2-year term as the TRS Board of Trustees. So congratulations, Debbie, on that. And as I mentioned, we're going to have our next lunch bunch on July 9th so that we're not interfering with the 4th of July festivities, and TRS matters with Dr. Buster Evans. So please join us for that. And I'll share one more thing and then show you a shortcut. We will have a GAE retired meeting after the NEA Representative Assembly and the NEA RAM retired annual meeting. And if you go through and in your search bar, you know that you're signing up on Mobilize for these events. If you just put in mobilize.us/GAE, you will get to a place where you can look and see everything that is coming up and sign up for that information. So it is 12:33. We've gone over, but thank you all for being here today. And I hope that you are staying well and cool, especially during all the thunderstorms, and hope to see you somewhere sooner or later. And again, Jim, thank you for your time and talent and sharing with us today. You all
No
be
problem.
safe.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Y'all be safe and hope to see you at the next go round someplace. Thank you so much. Bye.